Hey everyone, in this video I want to show you 3 camera movement tips and tricks that will help you save some time and also improve your animation. So let's begin. First thing I want to show you is the camera 360 rotation, which I struggled with a lot when I was a beginner, but it's actually pretty easy to pull off. So right here, as you can see, I have a camera in front of my character, and by the way, I'm using the BPS Rig version 4. The link will be in the description for the Squared Media YouTube channel and the Discord server as well, because the rig belongs to the Squared Media YouTube channel. Now, if I want to rotate my camera, I cannot really do that only manually animating the camera. So for example, if I turn on the auto keyframing, just don't follow along, but I'm just showing you an example. If I set the keyframe here, go here, press on Shift F or Shift tilde, whatever you have, and then try to rotate the camera by 360 degrees, you can see what's gonna happen. This looks horrible. As you can see, it doesn't work. It looks bad, and you cannot really use it in your own animations. So first of all, I'm going to turn on my screencast keys because I keep forgetting it. Now I'm going to delete my keyframes, and I'm also going to turn off the auto keyframing because we're doing simple animations and we're not going to really need the auto keyframing. So first thing we want to do is create an empty. So make sure you move your cursor where your character is. So for example, I'm going to do Shift right click and then move my cursor somewhere over here. And then I'm going to do Shift A, press on empty, and then let's create any empty here. I'm going to create plain axis, and it doesn't really matter which one you create. So I'm going to scale it up slightly. I'm going to turn off proportional editing. And now I'm going to parent my camera to the empty, and then we're going to animate the empty. That's the principle, and it works really well, and it's pretty simple. So first I'm going to select my camera. As you can see, I have a camera right here. Then I'm going to Shift left click and select the empty. Make sure you select the empty the second, and then you select the camera the first. Now, after I selected the empty, and after the empty is an active object, I'm going to do Control P and then do object to parent the camera to object. Now, if I move the empty, you can see the camera is parented, and you can see inside the camera view it's moving around. And now what we can do is go to frame 0 or whichever is your starting frame, press on I, and let's set a keyframe for rotation. Now go to the last keyframe, which in my case is 60 frames. And by the way, you can change your last keyframe from this end menu. Now I'm going to do R, Z, and then type 360 on your keyboard, and then press enter. So once again, R, I'm going to Control Z, and then I'm going to repeat this. So I'm going to do R, Z, type 360 on your keyboard, then press enter. And after that, don't leave it. What you can do is press on I and then set a rotation. Make sure you set a keyframe because otherwise your motion will be lost. So I'm going to do spacebar right now, and if I play my animation, you can see my camera rotates around by 360 degrees. I can keep this at Bezier, but also I can select the empty, go over my timeline, press on A, then press on T, and then set all of the keyframes to linear. And now it's going to be more linear and more evenly distributed motion. And as you can see, it's a pretty cool 360 motion effect with which you can do a lot of things. You can present your skin, you can do cool movements while you're doing fight animations, or you can disorient your viewers on purpose and do whatnot. Now, the second trick I want to show you is the camera track to constraint. So if you want the camera to follow along a character, for example, I have my character running here from left to right, and let's say I want my camera to follow it. Like, I can actually animate it manually, but who wants to do that? So the way I do that is using the track to constraint. So first thing I want to do is again create an empty and then parent the camera to the empty as well. So I'm going to move the empty towards the character. So again, Shift right click to move the cursor over here. If you have the right click selection for the objects enabled, if you're coming from the old versions of Blender, then you can move the cursor around using the left click. But in my case, you can see what it does. So if you're a new user of Blender and you're using Blender since 3.0 or 4.0, then you can do Shift right click and then move the cursor around. And with that being said, I'm going to do Shift A, empty, create a plane axis again, or just create any empty you want. And then I'm going to zoom in. And by the way, some people ask me how I zoom in and orbit around the objects. I can do that using the numpad period, which is default, but I changed the numpad period to F. So if I click on F, it's going to zoom around. Now I'm going to stop yapping. And then after I move the empty in front of my character, somewhere over here, I'm going to go to the camera view, select my camera, and now go to the constraints tab. So this right here is the constraints tab. I'm going to do add constraint and then select the track to constraint right here. So left click, select this one. And then I'm going to select the target over here, the eyedropper tool, and then set the target as this empty 001. Now my camera is going to follow the empty wherever I move it. So the main principle is I'm going to press on I to set a location keyframe for this empty. Now I'm going to go on the last frame where the character stops running or my animation stops. I'm going to click on G and then Y to move this on the Y axis, move it in front of my character or behind my character. I'm going to press on I and then set another location keyframe. Now if I play my animation, you can see what happens. The camera follows the character with a bezier motion, but since the character's root point is linear, I'm going to press on I. I'm going to press on H to select all the keyframes on my timeline and then make the animation linear again. And then as you can see, the camera movement is linear. Now, if I'm feeling lazy, which is rare, I can actually, instead of animating this empty, I can parent the empty to the object. So I'm going to delete all of these keyframes. Now I'm going to go inside my character or pose mode. So first of all, select the outline of your character, click on Control Tab to go to pose mode, left click to select the root bone. Now click Control Tab again to go out of the pose mode. And the reason why we did that is we need Blender to remember that we selected the root bone while we were in the pose mode. So after we did that, first select your empty, then shift left click select the outline of your character inside the object mode. Now I'm going to do Control P and then select bone. And now if I play my animation, the principle is that the empty is going to be parented to the character and then the camera is going to be parented to the empty. So they're all working together and as you can see, the camera is following my character and without me having to animate the camera. And obviously you can do other in-between motions, but this is pretty simple. And if you want to make your camera follow your character, you can do this pretty easily. Now the third and last trick I want to show you in this video is the Dolly Zoom effect. So for this, I'm going to hide all of these objects and I'm going to go inside my Dolly Zoom collection. And the Dolly Zoom is used in some of the Hollywood films and it's a really, really cool effect if you want to create like a disorientation or a confusion in your character or a chaos in your scene. So let's learn how to do that. It's pretty easy. And the reason why I selected the world is because the effect is going to be visible when we have the background objects in. So if I want to create the Dolly Zoom effect, first I'm going to place my camera in front of my character's face somewhere over here. And now if I place my camera in front of my character, I can create the Dolly Zoom effect. So first of all, I don't really need the auto keyframing once again. So first thing I need to do is mess around with the location. And the second thing I need to do is mess around with the focal length. If I want to find the focal length, first I'm going to select my camera, go inside my camera settings, and here I have my focal length, which I can adjust right here. So by default, I think the focal length is set to 50 in Blender, so let's set it to 50. Now, what I can do is press on I while I have my camera selected, and let's set a location keyframe. Now go to my last keyframe, which is frame 60. I'm going to move my camera using Shift F, for some of you Shift tilde, move the camera forward, and then place it in front of the character's face. Or if you want, you can also go out of your camera view and then use these arrows to move the camera back and forward. Now after I move my camera forward, I'm going to press on I and then set a location keyframe. And we have this motion. And now we need to animate the focal length to give it this Dolly Zoom effect. So first of all, go to frame 0 or whichever is your starting frame. Hover over the focal length and then press on I to set a keyframe. Or you can also right click, insert and click on insert keyframe. Now go to the last keyframe, which is frame 60, and then let's decrease the focal length to something like 21, for example. Now again, press on left click, insert keyframe, or press on I, hover over it and press on I. Now if I play my animation, you can see what happens. We have this Dolly Zoom chaotic effect, but I think the camera is way too far. So the main principle is you want to have your character in the same perspective you had before. So if on frame 0, I can see my character's face and the body, I want to do the same in the last keyframe. So I'm going to move this forward and maybe move this down slightly, GZ. And then I want to have my character almost in the same frame. Press on I, location, don't forget to set in keyframes. And now we can see we have this chaotic zoom in effect. I actually use this as one of my animations. And it's actually used in Hollywood films. And you can use this for like chaotic effects when character is confused or scared and you don't really know what's going on. So yeah, when the character is, for example, confused, angry or sad, for example, this character realized that he didn't join the Woodplank Discord server and he's actually really confused. So I created a Dolly Zoom effect for him. And by the way, if you want to join my Discord, the link will be in the description. And also, if you follow me on Instagram, I would really, really appreciate it. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know if you want to see more tutorials like this. And if you want to learn how to create this run cycle, I actually have a tutorial about that. So click here if you want to learn how to make this run cycle, and I will see you there. Thank you for watching.